Some major details were just revealed regarding the future of one of the more intriguing players on the Toronto Raptors in Ulrich Chomche, who spent most of the season in the G League this year. And just as we were all excited to see him come up with the main group and play out the back half of the season with the Raptors, he sustained a significant injury. So we'll break down what this means for his future, as there are some serious center prospects out there in this NBA draft that Masai Ujiri has addressed in other comments about being interested in filling in this upcoming NBA draft, depending on where the Raptors land with their draft selection. So we have a lot of moving pieces to discuss about this backup center position moving forward, because the Raptors also signed a guy to a multi-year contract to potentially play that center position for next year as well. So there are a lot of things to break down, because I know everyone is excited about Ulrich Chomche and the impact that, if he reaches his ceiling, if he reaches his potential, the impact that he could have on the Toronto Raptors moving forward. So lots of stuff to break down in this video. Before we do, folks, again, if you guys have been you guys have been crushing it, hitting the subscribe button as of late. If I can get this up here, we're at that 37,353. Goal is to hit 38,000 before the NBA draft lottery. So let's see if we can get 50 subscribers out here in this video, hit 37,400. So we march closer and closer towards our goal as we get some luck going, build up the community, get that quest to capture the flag. But let's dive into it, because this video is all about Ulrich Chomche, who is one of the more intriguing players out there on the Toronto Raptors. Is a 6'10". He's only 19 years old here after a full NBA season. He's only 19 years old here now. Over the course of his actual NBA career, not G League career, only played 7 games, didn't do too much out there, dealt with some injuries and things like that. So not a guy that, if you just look at his NBA stats, you're going to get crazy excited about. But what gets you amped up about Ulrich Chomche is you see the 6'10" height. You see the really long wingspan out there for Ulrich Chomche. And if you watch him on the basketball court, he is a phenom in terms of athleticism, in terms of what he's able to do out there on the basketball court, just moving around as like raw intangibles, raw skill set. And during the G League, during his stint with the Toronto Raptors 905, he put up some very, very solid stats in his first year on a two-way contract, averaging 8 points per game, came in, averaged 9 boards per night, even 1.3 assists is pretty solid, in only 24 minutes per game, shot 55% from the field. But the number that really has a lot of Raptors fans amped up, fired up, feeling gassed, is the 2.8 blocks per night. At 6'10", that athleticism is just on another level. He's playing with intensity. He's playing at the, just next level, just focused, locked in, getting ready to go, and then learning the game of basketball, because he's still extremely young, still 19 after a full NBA season. So a very high upside player, and people are questioning now, because Ulrich Chomche is a guy that is certainly shown some flashes of being really good, has shown flashes of achieving the potential we know he can achieve. What does Masai Ujiri in the Toronto Raptors front office think about his future in the Toronto Raptors? So we'll break it down here. Essentially, Masai Ujiri said in his season-ending press conference that this leads us to Ulrich Chomche, who's gone through the infrastructure in Africa, which was an academy, and come through that here. That was one of the big disappointments of the season when he got hurt. So again, a guy that spent most of the season in the G League, Masai Ujiri, I bring up this quote first to talk about how he was pretty devastated to see Ulrich Chomche not able to get that back half season run, because we saw, Orlando Robinson got extended run. We saw a lot of guys that in the back half of the rotation that, while the Raptors weren't worried about winning too many games, there was a major opportunity for Ulrich Chomche to play against relatively NBA competition. I know a lot of the teams we played against were playing some bench guys as well, but and to come out there, get on the court, and play with the big team, play with the big system. But as Masai said, it was one of the more disappointing parts of the season when he went down with injury and wasn't able to play at the NBA level at the back half of the year. So when Ulrich wasn't able to play in those final minutes, some people are questioning about whether or not Masai Ujiri still viewed him as a piece of the future, because you didn't get to have that opportunity to actually look at him, to see him, and this team is trying to compete next season. So how does Masai Ujiri feel about him for the future of this team? And basically he came out and said that he was moving towards almost being one of the better defenders in the G League, really learning the game. And I think he's the hidden ones out of the rookies. He's come off his injury now and is getting right back into it, and I feel like there's good upside there. Still 18 or 19 years old there. When you see them at that young age, you kind of know if they have the work ethic you have. They have that kind of talent. It's just going to take them time, because it's not natural. They aren't natural support. They start playing and throw the ball and they trap it. So basically what he's saying is they still view Ulrich Chomche in extremely high regard. He's still super young. He still has that high upside. And Masai Ujiri, despite the fact that he didn't get, Ulrich didn't get a chance to play the back half of the year the same way other, rookies, Jameson Battle, Jonathan Mobo, Jamal Shead got an extended run to the back half of the season. He didn't need that. He looked at the development. He looked at the work ethic. He's seen everything going on behind the scenes and is still very, very fond of Ulrich Chomche. Now, didn't come out and commit, hey, he's going to be the backup center next year. Didn't come out and commit saying, hey, it's a guaranteed thing that he's our center of the future for the Toronto Raptors. But there are still opportunities. This isn't a guy that's getting written off to the side or they're saying, oh, we're competing next year, so it's a tough spot for Chomche to be in. It would have been great for him to get that development reps, but now he can't. Masai Ujiri still very high, still very fond, still very intrigued by Chomche, and I'm very, very happy about it because, again, if it doesn't work out, he's on a two-way contract. That is what it is. But the upside, especially on the defensive end, and as Masai said, one of the better defenders in the entire G League, averaging close to 3 blocks per game in just 24 minutes, that is a guy that you want in your system. That is a guy you want to develop and let him sort of cook out there on the offensive end. So that is some positive stuff, but to contradict this a little bit, Masai Ujiri also had some comments in regards to the NBA draft. And he said, in this draft, wherever we fall, we're going for the best talent available. I know it's the answer everybody gives or maybe will give, but yeah, it's a unique draft and we'll find that, and we feel that we will have a talented player available. We tried to get one that fits our ball club. Yeah, we need another young big. We would definitely look into that, but it's not really a focus on that. To be honest, we're looking for talent. There are a lot of talented kids. So the interesting piece on this, which also had some people worried, Ulrich Chomche's future, is he going to be on the squad, is Masai Ujiri directly name-dropped, hey, we do need a young big. It's something we're going to look at. It is something that we'll see. But I don't think the Toronto Raptors are actively like, hey, it's the only thing. But he does reveal, he does indicate, shed light on that, which that's most Raptors fans, because Chomche is not a sure thing going into next year. The Raptors do need some young bigs in order to bolster that center position, going forward into the future, especially as Jakob Poeltl is one of the older guys out there in the cores, but should be on the Toronto Raptors for a decently long time. But this leads us to kind of where the mock drafts, what everyone's saying about this year's NBA draft, because Common Malawach is a guy that plays for Duke. That is a piece that I know a lot of people are very, very intrigued by with his athleticism, with what he was able to do for Duke this season. And his draft stock fell a little bit with his final game for Duke, not putting up the greatest of games, but still averaging 8.6 points. 6.6 rebounds, 70% from the field. He's shooting some threes as well, 25%. He's 7'2", so a guy that is definitely very good at basketball. Don't get me wrong here. And on the defensive end, 1.3 blocks. He was a force to be reckoned with out there in the paint. So Common Malawach is a guy, and Derek Queen is another player that I've seen a lot of Raptors fans start to bring up as a guy that really could be a sneaky good selection out there at if we do. Of course, the mission, the goal, I want to keep putting this into existence, but it's to capture the flag. It's to get Cooper Flag. We get that number 1 overall pick. Don't worry about other centerpieces, but if we end up with our most likely draft selection around 7 or 8, then Derek Queen or Common Malawach are very much players that are going to be in the realm for the Toronto Raptors. Right now, we're mocked for Common Malawach according to the Tankathon mock drafts, but I've seen him fall in different drafts as well. I've seen Derek Queen be higher. Some people are talking about, hey, he's the hidden star. He's the hidden piece out there in this NBA draft. So if we draft one of those guys, I do think things do get a little bit weird for Ulrich Chomche because, of course, you have Jakob Poeltl, who's going to be getting a ton of minutes. You have a lottery pick that is coveted and going to be in the system and do these types of things. And then you have Chomche, who's going to be, I guess, developing in the G League. I'm not sure where that specifically fits. So Masai Ujiri didn't fully commit, but he still explained that he's super high on Ulrich Chomche and, his future with the Toronto Raptors. So we'll see how things play out. I think the draft is going to be a major, major decision factor in terms of Ulrich Chomche's future with the team, but we'll see how things shake out. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. You guys the best thing as far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.